to the Royal Palace, which is pretty close by. It's only about a 12-minute walk, just a slightly longer distance than the actual Mercado de San Miguel. Ooh, this is nifty. It sucks. You're not allowed to film police, but then when they get into what you're doing, what do you do? What's coming later?
Alright, we are currently sitting in Vienna Cafe. It is day 13. We just got up about an hour ago, got ready, started making our way towards the palace. Still a little under the weather. Trying to grab some medicine from a pharmacy, and we're getting some breakfast right now. Some different types of breads and coffees, really. So today is going to be mainly walking from the palace to the cathedral and seeing stuff in between, as well as going to the Gran Via and checking out the shops on the Gran Via. So yeah, we'll check back in a moment. Alright, cool.
Alright, so we have gotten to the main plaza for the palace. Luckily, a lot of things in Madrid seem to be pretty close to where we are. Madrid's still huge, don't get me wrong, but we have easy access to a lot of the main tourist attractions, so to speak. And since we're only spending 3 days here, I think we're going to see plenty. So we're here at the Royal Palace, and they're going to have a changing of the guard in about half an hour. But for right now, we're not sure because some festival type things are going on. They have a lot of police guardsmen making sure people stay out of the plaza, which is kind of unique. But either way, this is the palace. I guess some royal family have decided to return or drive by because they have police everywhere, making sure that absolutely no one is standing in the plaza. So I think that's why. Oh. So the palace is closed for official business, I think, until late today. So we're just kind of walking around with caution tape, so to speak, and exploring other things today besides the palace. And in front of the palace is the museum for the cathedral.
Alright, so standing at the Egyptian temple here right next to Plaza España, and the big thing I noticed is that there's like this amazing viewpoint here. Really, you could see most of Madrid because of it, and I would say that it's totally worth coming to, particularly because it's free and it's just a real easy walk around. There's people walking their dogs, everybody's just enjoying their time in the park. There is the temple and a fountain behind the temple, and then this kind of like weird kind of gateway in front of the temple, which is kind of neat. We did go to the Cathedral of Madrid, and that was quite majestic. As we walked through, they had this like all sorts of crazy things. It was nothing here is as big as Barcelona, I would say, or they don't have that singular large item like Toledo or Segovia or any of the other cities, but it's still impressive in its own right. I would say that coming to the cathedral here was not as impressive as going to the cathedral in Segovia, but the cathedral here is still quite amazing with all their paintings, and they had this dedication to Mary with a placard, which was really cool. And then, yeah, the palace, unfortunately, I believe we mentioned this before, it's closed to the public today because of an official event that's actually happening. So, no Madrid Palace today, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. Anyhow, I think we're gonna go get lunch now, so we'll check back in a moment. Alright, so I am standing in the Gran Via. We just finished up some lunch at a Chinese joint. Mom was craving Chinese food, so we found one for her. It was right across the street from the Plaza España, and at the Plaza España we kind of went and checked out a Cervantes memorial type thing. It had him and his minion on the side, on one side of it, and on the back side it just had a water fountain. It's kind of the opening to the Gran Via, so we just started walking up the Gran Via after that. Then the buildings here are pretty awesome. I'm still feeling under the weather. I don't know what's gonna happen next. I think we're going to a museum because the palace is closed today, so there's not going to be any ability to go into the palace today. So we're probably going to swap out to the museum today and then the palace tomorrow. So we'll check back in a moment here. All right, cool. All right, so we are walking to the museum right now, and something I've never seen before just happened. There is a line around the block for the lottery. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I understand buying more lottery tickets when you think there's, like, you know, a better chance for you to get it or the prize is ginormous, but literally I've never seen a line that has, like, literally wrapped around blocks before. We thought it was like an entry to a museum or something, kind of like you see at the Louvre. No, everybody was literally just buying lotto tickets. That's pretty nuts. I wonder if that's only in Spain. Anyhow, check back in once we get to the museum.
So we've learned a lot of things while walking to this Museo del Prado. First off, the police have cordoned off the entire area that we're supposed to be trying to walk through, so we have to take a very roundabout way to get to the museum. Secondly, the taxis, something's going on with the taxis. Charlie says that they're on strike, so now that the policeman mentions it, I've not seen a single taxi on the road. So I'm not quite sure what's gonna happen. We need to figure something out to get to the, to get to everything that we need, because taxi was what we're gonna rely on to get to a particular spot. So anyways, if I am not mistaken, according to the maps that I have, we should be approaching the museum pretty quickly over the next 10 minutes maybe. It's very, very narrow, crowded streets. Everyone's being herded in different directions. So, you know, that's just what happens when you travel. Crazy things. So we've made it to the museum, but it's an hour before I thought free entry was. So we have a little over an hour now. We had the wonderful ability to walk through the taxi strike rally, and we're able to talk to the information guys who all told us that that the taxis will be available tomorrow, just not today. But beyond that, yeah, nothing too bad, just a really pretty courtyard and scenery. Free ticket time to go into the museum. For the next 2 hours, the museum is free. So essentially, from now until closing, it is free to go in. So there's a line. We were just in that line. It moved very quickly. But we think they just limit the amount of people that go in at a time so it's not overly crowded given any particular exhibition. So, on we go. We are now walking to the oldest restaurant in Spain, and the walk there is quite nice, albeit a bit cold. People wear cloaks here, because it's just that cold. Cloaks look awesome.
Alright, so I am currently standing in the world's oldest restaurant, and it is packed. I'm actually kind of pulling a Casey Neistat. I'm doing it from in front of the restrooms because there's literally nowhere else out in the dining areas to do it. We didn't have a reservation and they just fit us in. We got super lucky. Before that, we were at the Prado museum, which was amazing. Unfortunately, there's not too much footage in there because of the fact that it is a museum and people are in there looking at art, so you're not really allowed to take photographs there. It's super weird for people to see me walking in the restroom, right? So I'm gonna just end this here and I'll discuss more when I actually get back to the hotel because we're done for the night. This is our final stop. It's about 8:40, 9 o'clock. So, all right, one moment. All right, and And so we are now back at the hostel, and dinner was fairly good. We got the suckling pig, suckling lamb, and a scrambled egg with asparagus, and then I got a kind of chicken broth, chicken consomme, I believe they called it, which is just really chicken broth, and it's because I'm not feeling well. And then we just got some water, and I got a cafe bonbon, which is coffee with condensed milk. It's delicious. And the pork was amazing. The skin was nice and crispy, and it was pretty fatty, so it was juicy. The lamb, on the other hand, tasted kind of weird. Don't know if I'd recommend that, even though that was like their top 3 dishes. Their top 3 went in order of the suckling pig, which I understand, the lamb, which was kind of interesting, and then a filet mignon, or a little cut, right, of beef. And overall, the food was delicious. The potatoes were nicely made. You could tell how they've been in business since 1725. It's pretty awesome. They have the world's oldest restaurant, and it's via Guinness Book of World Records. And they really do pay attention to it. I wish I was feeling a little bit better and I could have gotten perhaps like a sangria or something to go with it, but because I wasn't feeling well, I just stuck with water. Typically the best thing to do. And then, yeah, the meal overall was great. The atmosphere is amazing. There's this basement area that actually is huge. The restaurant looks tiny as you walk in, but as you go upstairs and downstairs, and it goes 3 stories or 3 flights up, and then 1 flight down. So there is so much to see, so much to do, so much history there that it's amazing. And the staff and service there are pretty uptight. They're not like your typical Spaniard from the other restaurants. And at this place they actually asked for tips, which was kind of strange, so we gave a tip. After that, we decided to leave the restaurant, come back to the hotel. Lynn decided that she wanted to cache a little, so she's out geocaching currently. And I'm about to hit the hay because I'm not feeling well, so I'm going to take a shower, go to sleep, and I will see you on day 14. Alright, cool. Bye.
Late night geocaching once again. This time in Madrid. Not really as scary as you'd think, although it was much more comfortable in Segovia. Anyways, this thing's bringing me to something named after San Francisco. I don't know what this building is, but it's beautiful. Alright, let's see if we can't find that cache, shall we? So geocaching led me to the Garden of San Francisco, because the building behind me is the San Francisco Large, I don't know, San Francisco El Grande. But this garden is really cool. There's a beautiful statue and a view of the city as well. It's a little dark on the GoPro, but I'll try. I can only imagine what it's like in the daytime, but it's a pretty exciting park, really cool. Nothing but tapas shops, and they all stay in business. Calle de Barcelona. Dubliners. Alright, now I'm pretty much back at the hotel, or at least I'm on the same road that the hostel's on, so I'll catch you later.